What's up, everyone? Jason Brown here, the king of programming. Today, we're doing something a little bit different. I got my co-star, my wife, Danny Brown, over here. She's gonna come on today, and we're gonna do something that we've never done before. We're gonna give you some behind-the-scenes information about our business and a little bit of the story, and we're gonna start right now.
So one of the best emails that we've ever sent out in the history of Jason Brown Coaching was on your 40th birthday. And I sent out like 10 or 20 things, I can't remember how many it was, things about you that people didn't know. Mm-hmm. And we got more responses to that email than sending out like any survey we've ever sent out to our entire email list. So recently we had the idea to get on camera together and do something a little bit different. And we came up with these questions that we're gonna be kind of tossing back and forth to each other. We haven't seen them yet, and maybe get a little bit more deeper behind this guy.
Yeah, and I think that I'm not great at telling my story. And, you know, a lot of you have been following me for a really long time. And a lot of you have been following my YouTube channel before we even doing, like I was doing demo videos in my first gym or even in my first garage gym with literally no audio, like crappy audio, crappy video, like on a iPhone 4. And a lot of you guys have been around for a long time. So I think, you know, delving into some of this stuff is fun for us to do, and hopefully you guys enjoy it as well.
Yeah, and just a little bit of background. I actually work with Jason. If you're watching this and maybe new to Jason Brown Coaching, I handle the operations for JBC. So we work together elbow to elbow and have for the last 15 years. And we've probably spent more time together than most people who have been married their entire lives together. So
yeah. So we had a gym. We actually met because we both wanted to open a gym. My best friend introduced us because he knew that Danielle wanted to open a gym, and he also knew I wanted to open a gym. And interestingly enough, I got him involved in CrossFit, which is where he met Danny. And we met, decided we both want to open a gym in the same area. Let's do it together. And needless to say, like I had all of the know-how with strength and conditioning, but I had no business know-how. She had a whole binder of projections, and honestly probably even to this day, I don't know exactly just the length of information that was in that binder. But I knew that at that time, there was a glaring hole in my game. I was gonna open a business and basically be effed because I had no idea what it actually meant to run a business beyond just training people. So that was kind of an interesting situation out of the gate.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know anything either, but I knew that, you know, I was opening a gym because my dad had just passed away the year prior. And that was kind of felt like my chance to start something new. And I was really into CrossFit at the time. And it just seemed like the perfect kind of catalyst, you know, the life event for me to start something new. So yeah, fortunately enough, I met Jason's best friend at a CrossFit gym and told him that I didn't want to meet his best friend for like 6 months to the point that it was uncomfortable. And I said, well, yeah, finally, I guess I'll meet him. And then the famous line is that I offered him a job. But I didn't have any of the, you know, technical strength and conditioning knowledge, so he would have been screwed, but so would have I. So
yeah,
it worked out.
It did.
So let's kick some stuff off. Do you want to go first?
Sure.
Here's your question.
Oh, my paper. All right. So before I start off, I just want to say that you know, a lot of you guys chime in and send us emails and have you know, feedback for us or questions. Danny is fielding all that stuff. I don't answer any of that stuff, which is great because, to be honest, I am not great with responding to emails. I'm not great at responding nicely, and I'm not great at responding. So there's that. So she handles a lot of that. I mean, everything behind the scenes with this business, even the production of these videos, has been done by her. So we wouldn't even be doing these videos if it wasn't her, or I would be just doing them on my iPhone with no audio and just complete garbage. We probably have, you know, the 5 of you that have been subscribed since the beginning. So a lot of credit to her. So with that said, that out of the way, giving some credit to the real brains of this business. What do you do in our business, and how has it changed over the years?
I don't think it's changed too much, but I've just gotten a little bit better, I think. But from the time that we met, I remember when I met Jason, I did do a lot of work to prepare for opening a business and making sure that I wasn't just gonna go into it. Like, I never go into anything underprepared. That's kind of me, and it's probably a little bit leans more into, too much and trying to be perfect. But I came into the business with lots of projections about numbers and what I would need to produce as far as memberships and stuff like that. But what's really funny is that we were opening a CrossFit gym. I was opening a CrossFit gym, and that's what he wanted to open as well. We both wanted to open that model. And that was really my only experience with strength and conditioning, or just training in general. Prior to that, I really had only been running and doing yoga. So I was like, once I started CrossFit and started seeing the benefits, I was all in. I was drinking the Kool-Aid. And so once I figured out, I felt pretty good about what I had, the homework I had done for opening the business. That's when I was like, well, I definitely need to start to understand more about the programming. So I went on CrossFit.com and a couple other big CrossFit gym websites like CrossFit New England. I knew Ben Bergeron had a really awesome operation going on. And I downloaded like months of both their programming.
Just doing program reviews, guys.
Yeah, and I would basically put all the workouts together in a full week and then another full week. Like, literally, I had an entire table set up with all these workouts. And what I was trying to do is basically take the information I had learned in my CrossFit Level 1 and see, like, okay, this is a single modality. This is a couplet, this is a triplet, this is a gymnastics-based workout. And I was trying to identify patterns. And strangely enough, no patterns ever arose at all. And I'm like, either I am just completely missing the boat, or just like, I'm just dumb and I just can't understand what this is all about. So I remember like showing that to him and him just like doubling over, laughing, being like, this is amazing. Because I basically just did the best that I could with what I tried to learn with that. So that was kind of, the beginning. As soon as he came on and we opened the gym together, that was like a huge relief, because it allowed me to go back to what I'm better at, which is operations. So from day one, I've been doing operations. So, now my big focus is definitely I'm marketing and operations, much more on the marketing side for JBC, which has been great because it can allow him to, be the face of this business and do what he is best at, talk about programming and write programs. And really, that's it. So we have a really small team. There's not too much that has to happen with the operations of the business, but that's kind of what I handle.
Cool.
Do you agree?
Yes. Yeah, I would. I think the part that is always funny for me to hear is looking for patterns and not being able to find any, which obviously I came from the strength and conditioning world, conjugate system, and a lot of you know this, but for those of you that don't, I came from strength and conditioning. And when I got out of college, I decided to go in the military. So CrossFit was kind of, this was 2006. So there was only a few affiliates in the state of Massachusetts. And I actually happened to be lucky enough to go to a gym that had one of those affiliates operating inside of a commercial gym. And I got basically challenged to do a workout. The owner said I wasn't man enough to do the workout. So that to me was like, oh, like, you call me out, I'm going to do the workout. And, it opened my eyes up to a lot of things that my lens was a lot smaller. I wasn't looking at aerobic conditioning. I wasn't thinking about energy systems. I wasn't thinking about my endurance. And that was the catalyst for going down that rabbit hole. So going into CrossFit, I already had this very firm foundation of strength training that I could then apply to that. So when we opened our gym, it was like, the beauty with CrossFit is that you can do what you want, which is also kind of a setback because people do what they want and they F people up. We had the beauty to have our programming more balanced and have more of a structure, which, led us to going online and where we're at currently. But it was an important piece of that to me to have more of a structure and to lean on the fundamentals that I learned in the strength and conditioning world.
My first question is, how did you feel when we made the decision to move our business online?
For me, that was a no-brainer. I was at the tail end of just being burnt out with owning a gym, running a gym. All the things you think about, it's not just training people, right? Like, we're managing employees. We have, we had days where our coaches didn't show up. We had so many different things. Any of you guys that are gym owners out there, please chime in and comment some of your biggest struggles, because the struggles we had were not about getting people better, getting people results. Obviously, programming, none of that was an issue. The issues that we had were more about just kind of like customer relations and managing all of these people and personalities. So for me, I was towards just being burnt out and ready to go on to the next thing. And even at the time, we actually just had our first. So we didn't like have a ton of pressure to make a lot of money. It was kind of like, oh, well, we can just kind of, if we want to walk away from this, we can. So for me, it was definitely a really easy decision to see things online start to take off and then to say, you know what, I'm going to try my hand at this and walk away from this. And we actually sold our gym. We didn't walk away. We actually sold it. We had a profitable gym. We sold it to a member, and the rest is history. Mm-hmm. What was the hardest part for you when we transitioned to the online business?
Oh, everything. I was the opposite of Jason. It took me a few weeks. I mean, he didn't give me a few weeks. He would have if I asked for it, but he was like ready. Like the moment that he made that decision, it was dead and over. And I think that if you are a gym owner listening to this, you will fully understand this. But a CrossFit gym is an interesting business because it's like making a product, giving it to 100 people, and then being in the same room as them while they all try it out. And it's, like you're getting all the feedback all the time. Some people love it, some people hate it, some people want something different, some people, don't want anything changed about it. And it's a constant barrage. And you feel like you owe these people the explanation, because you are like sweating with them every single day, and you do have this deeper relationship with them than you would otherwise. And so I understood. I was feeling that too, but I'm kind of like, I don't know what the movie is. Matt Damon's like, we're Irish, we just like deal with shit.
Oh, it's The Departed.
That was kind of me. And for me, because I had opened the gym after my dad had passed away, it felt like, oh, this is like something really awesome that I have built. And it was such a part of my identity at that time. And I wasn't ready to let it go, but I trusted Jason, and I'm like, I will be doing this for 20 years. And I don't really want that. If I'm not gonna do it now when he's making a decision, I'll probably be doing this in 20 years. And that's not good. So yeah. So it was hard, but I was definitely very happy once it happened. It felt like the right time.
It did feel like the right time, and I think that she used to always joke with me that too bad you can't get paid to write programming because I like doing it so much for years. Yeah. And obviously that's what happened, but I don't think that I had another month left. Originally, I think we were supposed to be out on first of the year. We were passing off the ownership on first of the year, but we ended up doing it in November. So like a few months early, I was just like, I'm
Yep. Yeah, right.
Can't.
If you could go back and give yourself one piece of advice when you were first starting out in strength and conditioning, what would it be?
It would be the aerobic system. Learn about the aerobic system, learn about how to develop it, and don't be scared to do anything that's over 3 minutes in length for endurance work, because I came from the world where anything over 3 minutes or jogging, God forbid you go for a jog, will completely ruin months of hard work.
Yeah, like you used to be terrified of it. I would be like, I just feel like I want to do a longer run, and you would be like, that's catabolic. You'll have no muscle, lose all your strength. Like, so I was like, well, I guess I shouldn't.
Well, it's funny, I think that we didn't have all this information that we have now. I mean, we had textbooks and, even the stuff that I got in the university setting was still like, kind of like you didn't have that bridge where it was like, hey, if we do this, we can get this. It was kind of like strength and power, its own thing. Develop those. And then if you want endurance, that's its own thing. You can develop that like separately in its own phase of training. With Conjugate, we always had conditioning, sled work and stuff like that, but we didn't do it the way that we do it now. We didn't know that we could do longer, steady state, low intensity pieces and have it really be the catalyst for so many great things. Mm-hmm. And I mean, that for me would be the piece that was like, if I had known that early on, I think that, I might be significantly better off throughout a lot of different phases of my life. Military, I mean, even in CrossFit, I would have been significantly better. I had the best performance in the CrossFit Open years after I stopped doing CrossFit, and I had been doing more Zone 2 work, so.
Yeah, same.
If you are someone that is serious about training and you're looking for peak results year round without having to sacrifice your body, download my free programming sample. The link is in the comments. What's something that you learned from me about strength and conditioning that you think more people should know?
I mean, probably along the lines of what you just said. Just having a balance. Like I said, my initial entry point into training was CrossFit, and it took me years, as you know, to transition to what Jason was doing. Yeah, I just wanted like volume. I thought if I wasn't doing enough reps, like why would I even be doing this? So that took me years. I mean, I think he knew eventually I would jump on board with like conjugate and doing conditioning and doing them separately. But it took me a while. Like after we sold the gym, I was going to another local CrossFit gym, and you know, after a couple of classes, I'm like,
the gym was using my programming, which
yeah. So it was definitely, you know, better. But after that went on for a few months, I'm like, this is kind of silly. I went back and was trying to do CrossFit in our gym, and that just didn't feel the same. So finally, I just kind of threw in the towel and said, you know, I surrender, and I'll do it your way. I mean, and here we are. And even for that time, I was doing more conjugate training with conditioning, and now I've been doing full body. Mm-hmm. But again, that I'm always just kind of like following your lead, because I didn't want to do full body either. I thought if I wasn't doing an upper lower split, like I would lose all my gains.
Mm-hmm. Funny how that works.
Yeah. What's one thing people would be surprised to learn about you as a coach or a business owner?
Ooh, that's a good one.
I have such a good answer for this.
Outside of
coach or a business owner. I have two good ones.
I honestly, like, I can't, I mean, I'm pretty much an open book. I mean, I feel like I
say number one is that you are the most original person I have ever met. Like, I don't know if I would know that about you if I wasn't married to you, but Jason Brown ever like taking someone else's stuff and trying to like make it his own, he'd like rather die than do that.
I would have never thought of that.
Yeah. Oh my God, like so original. And I just know it because like I can't be like a plagiarizer. I'm just terrible at that. I just can't start with someone else's stuff. So I just naturally can't. My brain doesn't work that way. But he just can't because of like the principle. And you always want to do things the hardest way possible. All of it.
Which I wouldn't recommend.
Yeah. I don't know if that's to your benefit or detriment, but you are completely original. And I would say another thing that I have actually realized in your program reviews, definitely, but I was onto it even prior to that, is that you always give everything a fair chance. Like, even though he's, you know, doing these reviews and looking at other people's programs, like I have learned a lot about programming. I probably know much more than I think I do, just because I've been hanging out with this guy for so long. So there's things that I will see in a program and I'll be like, I'll never do that. I wouldn't look a minute further. And he'll continue to like give it a fair chance. And he genuinely means that. It's very authentic. So I just think that is really neat with your level of expertise and mastery, that you still have a very open mind. Like, you are very much in it to learn and continue. You know, it's always like, maybe I don't know something, and you genuinely mean that. So I think that's really cool.
Oh, thank you for that. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
What do you think makes us a great team in both business and at home?
In business, we have opposing strengths and weaknesses. Like, you are such a go-getter, quick start. Like, the second that the task is halfway out of my mouth, you're like doing it. And I'm the total opposite. I like sit and stew on it and make sure I have the idea perfect before I take action on it. And I think that over the years we've learned to kind of bring those two things together. I mean, and I just think it's really awesome that, yes, like we have brawls in the office like every other week, and they used to be much more frequent. But we're both working towards the exact same goal. I remember hearing Layla Hormozi say that about her and Alex, and I was like, hey, that's my thing. But we're working towards one thing. So it's not like we're going off, giving each other a kiss in the morning, and he's going to do one thing and I'm going to do another. we know exactly what the end goal is, and that's, I think, has helped us to, move faster than most couples could. And I mean, at home, we have all the same values, and I think always have. We're definitely very different people. We've probably become a lot more like together over the years, but we're very, different people. And I think that at home, I've always had the same value system.
Yeah.
Always. The things that I hold important, when I met you, were important to you as well.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, I would agree with all that.
If you could tell all athletes that train under Jason Brown coaching one single piece of advice, what would it be?
Follow the program. Don't overthink it. I've been telling you guys, a lot of you that are already like in our private community and in our Facebook group know this already. Don't overthink it, number one. Don't add anything. Just follow the program. You have not thought about it as much as I have. I promise you. I promise you that if you follow it, you will get great results. Now, the results, how great they are, rely on you doing things well outside of the gym. But if you follow it as is and you don't change anything else, you will get great results. If you add things, you might not. If you overthink and try to get sexy with something, you might not. Just follow the program. That is it. These are the best programs that you're gonna find for next to nothing on the internet, where you don't have to go think about what you need to do. I've done all that thought work for you. You just need to follow it.
I think that's great advice. I think I see a lot of people with, the comment, like, trust the process. And I'm like, yes, trust the process if you have a great program. If you don't, you're trusting something that's built on really nothing.
Right.
But I think it's been a really interesting journey for me to watch the progression of Jason, because when we opened our CrossFit gym, I was just coming into strength training and that entire world. He had already come from like a conjugate background and then was in CrossFit for a bit. And then interestingly enough, a year or two before we sold our gym, he started actually using the conjugate method in our CrossFit gym. Like we had...
Well, we were using it from the beginning. My own journey spilled over into the gym. So like we did 5-3-1, we did some linear based cycles. I was doing linear based cycles for a while. I actually did linear based cycles for 3 or 4 years after we opened the gym. And then I went back to basically turning things on its head and making the programming really conjugate based, where we did some heavy days, we did some speed days. We really prioritized accessory work. We started doing more sled work, more GBP based stuff. So
we had like 60-year-old women like lifting with chains, like doing back squats with chains. This was awesome.
Yeah, it was cool.
But it was cool for me because I didn't know that at the time. Like I didn't know, he was basically, I don't know, you can probably say it better than me, but you end up like coming back to conjugate.
Yeah.
Which you call your...
Yeah, so conjugate's like my high school sweetheart. And I never had this situation in my own life, but like, I feel like your high school sweetheart, a lot of people are with the same person, and then they go to college and like, you know what? Got to see what else is out there. I got to play the fields. Got to see if the grass is greener. And then I think a lot of people realize the grass is not greener. And for me, part of the journey as a coach, and I think part of the journey of most coaches when, you're learning, is that you experiment with different things. You try different programs, you try different training styles. And I did that. And, lo and behold, I mean, I would say I would still have done it. I wouldn't change that. But I think that I was looking for this like answer, this magical like holy grail of training, and I already had it. And it wasn't until I had went through this arduous squat cycle for, forget what it was, maybe it was 12 weeks. And I remember retesting my squat and I only went up 5 pounds. And I'm like, I just did all that work. I was squatting 3 times a week and I only went up 5 pounds. And that to me was like, I had this my head exploded. I'm like, I'm going back to conjugate. And within 4 weeks, I was hitting PRs again. I hit a lifetime PR on my power clean, like a 70-pound PR on my power clean, just getting back into the conjugate system. And I had trained with a lot of people too. I've trained with, so we had, some great Olympic lifting coaches in our area that were even traveling with Klokov and doing those seminars, you remember?
Mm-hmm.
So we were training with a lot of great coaches, but the training was not in alignment with me. It was not in alignment with, there was a lot of things that were really off with it. in terms of just volume and where I was at. So that part of the journey for me was like, my high school sweetheart is the one for me. I need to marry my high school sweetheart. And that's Conjugate has been, functional conjugate has been the framework of all of our programs, whether they're full body, whether they're upper lower split, whether they're a hybrid of those two things. That provides the foundation where we can then build. Now, how you deliver it, there's so many different ways you can skin the cat, but that framework of prioritizing those things, not using linear base, being more less rigid and more able to adjust based on bio-individuality, based on how you're feeling on any given week, has been such a powerful system that has, we've sold thousands of programs over the years and just, we've got so many testimonials at that point. We've got literally folders of testimonials from people that have done our programs and hit massive, personal records on their list. So
when we started doing Conjugate, I mean, I am like the slowest athlete on earth. I'm like all type 1 fiber for sure. I mean, I squatted 295 and clean and jerks 200 after 6
pounds, not kilos.
Pounds.
You gotta say pounds or kilos for the audience.
I'm American.
Yeah. Even Tony behind the camera, Olympic lifters, thinking 200 kilos, 440 pounds. No, pounds. But yeah, I mean, you were hitting PRs. I mean, our gym, we had 30 ladies deadlifting over 300 pounds. Regular people, not power lifters. We had 10 guys deadlifting over 500. We also had 10 guys that were running sub 6 minute miles and competing in the CrossFit Open and, being really well-rounded. And I think that, that system, when I went to Westside and I told Louis how many people I had using the Conjugate system, I don't think it fully registered. I remember he kind of glazed over, and I don't think he really understand, because at the time we had 20,000 people a day using using box programming. So there was a lot of people that were using Conjugate-based training.
Online wasn't a huge thing.
It was. Well, that was 2015. It wasn't. Funny though, last thing I want to say is that what I have seen with Conjugate is that it is so adaptable, and even being able to use full body training with it has been such an awesome option. I think that system itself, full body training, Conjugate style full body, functional full body training, is probably the system that fits more people than the classic model. So, just a little tidbit out there if you're thinking about getting on a new program. We've got plenty that are good fit for you.
Well, this is fun.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate you guys hanging on today. Let us know in the comments what your biggest takeaway was from today. And until next time, results are king.